Hey everybody, thanks for popping by the channel. Today what we're going to do is we're going to take our first baby steps in Python, and what we're going to learn is we're going to learn how to make a program, and we're going to run the program within Visual Studio Code. We'll also begin to use variables and data types. It is essential for any type of programming that you learn about variables and data types, so let's begin. Think of a variable as a container that holds values in memory and on your computer. That's all they do. Variables can also hold different types of data. Maybe one holds a number and another one holds text. This is a listing of the different data types within Python. The different data types is basically an attribute associated with a given variable. They tell Python, when it's run, how to treat the variable. And also how much memory to allocate for a given variable. Each data type has their own methods. Methods are behavior. So an integer, for instance, has its own set of behaviors called methods, and a string has its own set of behavior and its own methods. For instance, a string has a method called capitalize, which capitalizes all the letters. Now, it wouldn't make much sense for an integer to have capitalized, would it? So why would you want to use variables in your program? Variables promote a couple things. One of them is reusability. In other words, you can access a variable multiple times within your program. And the other reason is for maintainability. If the value changes of a variable, you don't have to change it everywhere. You just change it in one place. Now, when it comes to naming variables, Python has a document called the Python Enhancement Proposals, and their guidelines on how we should write our Python. Within that document, they suggest using a lowercase letters only with words separated by an underscore. For instance, student with a capital S, 1, maybe we could write it as student all lowercase underscore 1. Some other naming rules to note: you cannot use any special characters except for the underscore within a Python variable name. Names cannot begin with a number. However, you can have a number within a variable name. And keep in mind that variables are case sensitive. So a lowercase letter and an uppercase letter within two variable names would make them different variables. Okay? The other thing is reserved keywords. I know we're starting out, so you probably don't understand what reserved keywords are. But just let me say, you can't use Python's reserved keywords for variable names. We'll come across them and we'll take care of it, and you'll get a good feel for it. Okay, let's create our first Python file and our first little program. So the first thing to keep things organized, I'm going to create a folder. And in this folder, I'm going to give it a name. So just click on that icon, and I'm going to call it variables. And inside of here, we're going to create the actual Python file. And we'll give it a name, 00-variables.py. And you'll see a visual cue pop up. And now we can start creating code. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to declare a variable. Number underscore 1, space, equal sign, space, 100. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to output the value. So we're going to use a built-in Python function called print. Print is a built-in function. Later on, we're going to be creating our own functions. And, of course, using Python's functions. Type your name of your variable. And once you start typing, did you see Visual Studio Code? It gave you a little helper. You can just hit tab. You can also hit enter. Okay, right click on the file. Down at the bottom there, or near the bottom, the submenu opens up. It says Run Python in Terminal. And take a look. Congratulations. You have now created your first little program that outputted a variable value. Now what we need to do is we need to examine how this thing works. Okay, the first line. On line number 1 is taking 100 and it is assigning it a value. to something called number underscore 1. That's your variable. Next line is the print statement. It's going to take that value of 100 that we put inside of the variable and print it. And that's about it. Nice and simple. Python also gives us something interesting. It gives us the ability to reassign a value. So to reassign a value, that'll be our next example. We're going to take the name of the variable, number underscore 1, that we already declared and assigned a value to, and we're going to assign it a new value, 300. And then we're going to run a print statement again. And within the print statement, we are going to put our variable name and run the program. You guys remember how to do that? Right click, run in terminal. Oh, take a look at that. Well, our 100's there, which is what we had before, and then a 300 showed up underneath the print statement. So Python is read from top to bottom, and what we did was we first assigned it a value of 100, then we printed the result, and then we did a reassignment. In other words, we changed the value that was being held in the variable, and then we printed it. Okay, so Python gives you the ability to reassign a new value to a previously declared and assigned variable. So let's create another variable. This one's going to be slightly different, but that's okay. We're here to learn, right? Okay, we're going to call this one name. And we can't really use name. We wanted to use name. That's because that's a reserved keyword. So Visual Studio is telling you that's reserved. Okay, so we'll call it first underscore name. We'll give it a value, assign it a value of John. Notice it's in quotation marks. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print this out and we're going to see what happens. So print in the parentheses the name of the variable. First name. Okay, run the program. You guys remember how to do that? Right click and run Python file in terminal. And take a look. We printed off numbers and text. So Python gives us a really handy way to check our data types. What we're going to do is we're going to start our print statement, and inside of the print statement we're going to make use of a built-in function called type. Inside of type we're going to type in the name of our variables. First number 1, and then print on type, and then the name of our second variable. Okay, so remember, tab or enter. And then let's see what happens here when we try to run this program. Right click, run Python file in terminal, and take a look at that. Class int, class str, what are those? Well, it just so happens that whole numbers, in other words numbers with decimal places in computer programming, are called integers. And anything enclosed in quotation marks is known as a string data type. Okay, I hope everybody's clear on integers and strings and how to print them and how to check the data type. And now we're going to move forward. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file within the same folder. So click on the new file icon and name this one 01-variables.py. And what we're going to do inside of here is something a little different. Okay, we're going to declare a number 1 equals 50. Number underscore 2. Whoopsie. And take a look at that. I made a boo-boo. Okay, And also, take a look. We had a problem before because you need space between the equal sign. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then we're going to write first underscore name 1 is equal to John. And the next one, first underscore name 2 is equal to Barney. And let's do something funky. We're going to actually create a total. So total is equal to number underscore 1 plus number underscore 2. And then let's add a print statement, and let's print that total. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the names. Now I can't use names, remember that's a keyword, so I'll just go names underscore 2 is equal to first underscore name 1 plus first, and I might as well just pick it, and oops, I made a boo-boo. Let's do this again. First underscore name 2, and let's print this. Now let's run the Python file, and let's see what we get. Well, number 1 plus number 2, so that's 50 plus 100 is 150. And we used a plus symbol, didn't we? So the plus symbol between two numbers, in this case integers, what did it do? It did addition. So what about the plus symbol between two strings? First name 2, a plus symbol. We put it into a variable called names underscore 2, and then we printed that off. What did we get? It didn't do addition. It just kind of jammed things together. Two strings with a plus symbol, we call it concatenation. Concatenation means just bringing things together. And just to let you know, the plus symbol is an operator, and it works differently on strings and numbers, as you can see. And we'll explore that more in the next video. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching the video, and please subscribe to the channel.